Gadget Girl here, day 14. It's cold, wet, and miserable. In other words, a great day to hike. All right, we've got a little stream to cross on a log this morning. Hopefully the log's not too slippery. You can't see this super well, but the fog has lifted from the mountain now, and it's starting to lift from the valleys. It's pretty cool looking down there. Here's a better view. It's kind of fascinating to watch it as it moves around. I'm here at Muskrat Creek. The shelter's just up here, but apparently it's not actually a shelter, it's a sheeter. Here's the privy at Muskrat Creek Shelter. It was a pretty decent one. Got handicap accessible bars. I have made it to White Oak Stamp. There's an area for camping over that way, but I'm going to keep going. I am up here to the intersection of Chunky Gal Trail. Goes that way. Wonder if that's the trail meant for me. I think I'll stick to the AT. There's another forest giant that came down. Big old tree. I'm glad I wasn't walking by when that happened. And here on its base is another of those interesting lichens. It kind of looks like somebody smushed a birthday cake. I have made it to Water Oak Gap. This is pretty cool. That spring is running right out from under the roots of this tree. Apparently the mountains are singing. I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear music. It's almost 12:30. I'm heading down into Deep Gap. The mountain right over there is Standing Indian, and that will be my next big climb. A little rock jumble here to hike through. They're pretty, but you gotta watch your footing. Okay, looks like a pretty steep descent right here, coming off a yellow mountain. It wasn't quite as bad as it looked from the top because there's kind of a little series of ledges that you can follow. Now, more descending. Thanks to the North Carolina trail maintainers. We've worked hard here putting in some rebar to hold these stone steps in place. And I've made it to Deep Gap. I'm partway up Standing Mountain. That's Yellow Mountain that I just came down. We got more climbing to do. Here's the next part of the climb up Standing Indian. Very nice campsite right here. Coming up on Standing Indian Shelter, I believe. Should be anyway. I've reached the area of the shelter, but I'm gonna keep hiking on because I do want to get to, I believe it was Beach Gap this evening. There's some pretty decent views through the trees. Here not far past the shelter area on Standing Indian. Standing Indian has been pretty good hiking so far. I think parts of this are maybe on old logging trails or old logging roads, because it seems to be a pretty decent grade and not a whole lot of maneuvering of stepping up and over rocks and things like that. There's plenty of rocks, but they're relatively small. More good views. The trail is getting a little bit rougher, getting hopefully closer to the top. So onward and upward. These Jelly Belly Extreme Sport Beans really do provide a lot of energy. Again, thank you, Neil and Debbie. And if you're listening, Jelly Belly, I think you should sponsor me and send me some more. I am very close to the peak now and getting some great views. You can see there's a lot of wind up here. You can hear it on the video, but you can also see all these downed trees and branches. And views. These mountains are ones I crossed, I don't know, a week or so ago. In the background, there's Tray Mountain, Blue Mountain. You can see those in the distance. There are a lot of dead trees up here on top of Standing Indian, including some in the trail. Over here it's possible to see mountains I'll be climbing in the future, including Sadler's Bald, Weah Bald, and Klingman's Dome is over there too, in the Smokies. A little different here. There's a lot of small mountain laurel and quite a lot of dead underbrush. Here's what would be a small campsite coming off of Standing Indian Mountain. I've got about 1.9 miles to go to Beach Gap. There's a little campsite here. Did have to stop momentarily. Something had gotten into my shoe, so I needed to take that out so I don't develop a blister. On to the campsite. I'm having another quick snack here while walking. A Nature Valley protein bar. Salted caramel flavor. They're really good. Across that. When you're vertically challenged, that's been the most difficult one so far. I had to go up the hill a little ways and cross where it was the lowest. Looks like everybody else has been doing that too. Here's an interesting little place in the trail. It actually kind of goes right into that little stump and then back out. And on down. Probably see it a little better from that angle. I have made it to Beach Gap and I'm going to set up my hammock right here. Dinner tonight's a little earlier. It's about 7:30, not quite 7:30. I am going to have carnitas enchiladas. They're very good. Just waiting on the water to boil here to get them ready. Actually, it turns out this is not carnitas enchiladas. It's a dish that my mother's neighbor used to make called Swiss steak, but it's equally delicious. So I'm gonna dig in here.